Welcome to ACD Combatives, your combatives and control tactics channel. Please like, subscribe, and share. Hey guys, Coach Kurt here. I had a question come up. I have a trainee in field training right now, phase 2 of FTEP, and this question comes up a lot actually. And so we're going to cover gear placement, the good, the bad, the ugly, agency policies can also limit you, and just some common sense. But at the end of the day, barring some certain rules that I will explain, you have extensive officer discretion, and that's the way it should be, and we'll cover more of that. So to start with, my agency has a policy that your firearm, obviously, your baton, your pepper spray, your taser, all your defensive equipment basically has to be on your belt. We have an outer vest, and you're allowed to put stuff on it like your radio, and you can put other things in it, very utilitarian, a knife, your camera goes on your vest. Some people will put their tourniquet on their vest, that kind of stuff. There's been some talk about allowing officers to put tasers on their vest, and we will discuss the good and the bad of that coming from my point of view. At the end of the day, this is my point of view. You do what's best for you. I approach it from the point of view of a control tactics instructor and a martial artist, use of force instructor, and FTEP or FTO. So let's get going. So barring my agency's policy, and I actually don't mind it. I carry my taser. I'm left-handed, so I'm a left-handed draw. By agency policy, my taser has to be on my off side, i.e. my right side, your left side if you're a typical righty. It can be cross draw, or it can be a conventional draw, meaning just a regular draw stroke. I like mine regular conventional draw stroke. If you like the cross draw, I totally get it. But I like mine conventional. That way it is completely separate. To utilize an example of why I like it that way, I had an incident where I was with another officer and we were looking for a guy who had all these warrants, and we were serving a warrant, and he released 3 pit bulls on me, and I had my firearm out because he was known to carry weapons. And then all of a sudden, I'm facing 3 pit bulls. Well, at first, I only saw the first pit bull, so I was like, I'm going to transition to my taser. Super easy, smooth transition. Firearm in my dominant hand, going back in my holster, and my taser coming out with my right hand, buying me precious seconds so I don't have to completely reholster, reach over with my dominant hand, cross draw. And then I saw the other 2, and then I stayed with my firearm and ended up shooting the lead pit bull. So that's neither here or there, but you see the example in why it makes sense. It's that smooth transition. It's very difficult to mistake your taser for your firearm when you do a conventional draw with your off hand. And as far as some people saying, well, that's not your dominant hand under stress, blah, 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 it's all down to the training. Any martial artist will tell you that you do thousands of repetitions of particular techniques, and it becomes second nature. It becomes what your body will respond to. So if you're training, that's a moot subject. If you're not training, you will always fall to your lowest level of training, and you will not rise to the occasion, and you will end up doing like what unfortunately happened recently in the news, where that officer with like 25 years of experience, or what I like to say 25 years of the same experience, ended up confusing a firearm with a taser and shooting the person. That's just the facts of life. If you say that I'm wrong, I get it. People sometimes don't like it when I, what they feel that I'm using these examples, or I'm breaking down these arrests. I'm doing it strictly for the good of the order. Again, I'm a trainer. It's my job to train, and I make mistakes every damn day, and I know it, but it's my job to reiterate training and push for more training, and hopefully someday the powers that be will hear and authorize and or make mandatory much more training than 8 hours a year. That's my agency's 8 hours a year is control tactics. Your agency might be worse. Some don't have any. Your agency might be better. But as an individual officer, you can be better. You can train weekly at your local MMA school, your local jiu-jitsu school, your local judo school, Krav Maga, what have you, kickboxing, Muay Thai. Big fan of all those systems, or just regular boxing. At least do some kind of workout routine. Anyway, I digress. I apologize. So, what about your taser on your vest? Or I have a lot of trainees show up and their vest, they look like a soldier going to war, battle rattle everywhere, and it's bulky and big, and that's fine. It's super good for I used to get sciatica until I got duty suspenders, and then the duty suspenders go under my outer vest, so that helped keep the weight bearing off my hip. That way I can also loosen up the belt a little bit, and sciatica magically went away. And because my shoulders were bearing the weight as opposed to my hip, and the belt pressing down year after year, hour after hour on my hip and cutting into the nerves. So that's one thing that I do. I still have stuff on my outer vest. I have my camera. I have a flashlight attached to my outer vest. But as far as knives and stuff, I'm not a fan of having a knife clipped to your outer vest. Not because it's not quick and easy for you, but because it's also quick and easy for the bad guy. Remember, every encounter with a bad guy, there's a weapon involved. Your weapon or weapons. If you're scuffling with somebody, you're in a clinch range, which is where you're going to end up if you have a combatant who doesn't want to be handcuffed. He might see your knife and have just as much access to it as you. And if he's bigger, stronger, and more athletic, which is the case of most bad guys, then they can get your knife quicker and easier and use it against you. So I'm not a fan of having a knife clipped to your outer vest. I have mine inside pockets so that can't be seen. I know they're there, and I can rip open the pocket and get to it. Position before submission, or position before handcuffing, or position before you pull out a weapon. You don't want to introduce any kind of weapon into a scenario where you do not have positional control. All right, I've preached. So, taser on the outer vest. Totally understood. I totally agree that officers should have that ability to choose that. I personally don't like it because, again, I don't like my vest to be excessively bulky, because in the clinch range, the more thick and your vest, the harder it is to suck somebody into the clinch. So I like to keep my outer vest as svelte as possible and utilitarian. I have tools in it and everything. And plus, I just love the outer vest because you can take it off when you go to the bathroom. You can take it off when you're in the office, what have you. But I personally don't like a bunch of crap on my outer vest. I totally get it that people want this gear on the outer vest. That's your call. That's your world. It's your officer discretion. So here are some do's and don'ts. First of all, always have your weapons, i.e. your baton, your pepper spray, your taser, your firearm, of course. I like to have those shifted to the front of my belt. Obviously, your strong side with your firearm and your taser on my off side. But I like my baton in the front. I like my pepper spray in the front. I like my handcuffs in the front when I can. But I literally have my handcuffs behind my gun, and we'll get to that. I want all my defensive equipments in front, so when I'm actually fighting with somebody, I have easy access with a power stroke as far as my shoulders shifted forward as opposed to reaching back behind me where you're weak. I like that. That's a general do. You have your crap easily accessible in the front. Now, why do I have my handcuffs behind my gun? Well, I'm a big component, as you've just heard, position before handcuffing, position before submission. I never introduce a tool, regardless of what it is, especially handcuffs, until I have control in a position of control. That is a super important part of handcuffing that's lost in translation so often, because at the academy, ninjas are flying from the trees and you're getting in a gunfight and you're fighting aliens, or you have a cooperative handcuff situation. What is extremely rare is the training of the gray area. The person that's trying to knock your head off or anything, he's just trying to pull away, get away, push you off of them. Like, no, I'm not going to jail, screw you. And you have to arm drag them into a position of control, and then you take them down and bam, you're in a position of control, you talk to them, and then settle into handcuffing. That's when you remove your handcuffs. So if you're in a position of control, it doesn't matter if your cuffs are in the front or in the rear. That's my logic. You do you. Okay, flashlight. First of all, a lot of officers have a flashlight on your weapon. Obviously, that is great for searching a building or at night when you're doing a felony car stop, yada, yada, yada. But you are not going to use your firearm as a flashlight. If you are doing that, you are wrong. If you're using your taser as a flashlight, you are wrong. You should have a separate flashlight, and that separate flashlight should be on your belt or on your vest, like I carry mine, accessible by your offhand. What drives me crazy was when I see officers, and I see it today with officers with years of experience, with their flashlight behind their gun. So that means you have to grab it with your strong hand and then switch it to your offhand, tying up your strong hand when it should be free for your firearm. And no earthly good to have your firearm or your flashlight behind your firearm. It does not make sense. You should move it someplace else on your person, on your outer vest that's quickly accessible with your offhand, or on your belt that's quickly accessible by your offhand. Don't have it behind your gun. That's one of my huge pet peeves. I've worked with people that do that, and I casually mention it, and they just ignore me. Whatever, your world, I just live in it. I hope that this pretty much covers it. Oh, radio. Radio, I have a weird patrol area. I'm a rural officer. I've mentioned that before. My handheld radio, it's a swivel on and off. I know where my handheld works and where it mostly doesn't work, which is most of my patrol area. So I personally, right, wrong, or indifferent, have it in the console. And every time I get out of the car, if I know I'm in a place where it will work, I quickly stick it on my belt. Some people are going to say, well, you should always have it on your belt. Not wrong. I'm just a 51-year-old guy with bad knees, bad hips. And I know that most of the time my handheld is shit and doesn't work because of just bad radio comms where I'm at. A lot of you rural cops understand what I'm talking about, unless you're a trooper and then you have these magical repeaters every 5 feet or something and you never have bad radio comms. But anyway, I think you understand what I'm saying. Having it on your vest is nice because it helps distribute the weight off of your hips, but it's also adding the thickness and girth to your vest. Going back to what I said before about having a svelte vest for fisticuffs. And guys, what do we do as cops? Well, hopefully your gift of gab, your verbal judo, your de-escalation skills are on notch so you rarely have to tangle with people. But Murphy's Law, you're going to tangle with people, grapple with people, and fight with people way more than you're going to have to shoot people. So you should better be squared away with that skill set, and you should set yourself up for success as much as possible. You need to have your outer vest secure and svelte so you're not, looking like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man or a soldier going to war or an astronaut going to the moon. Enough said. Please reach out if you have any requests. Sorry I haven't had any other videos. Again, I have a trainee, so I've just not been putting the videos up right now because I got to give 110% to my trainee, who is a rock star, which is so rare nowadays. We'll get into another video about that as far as the do's and don'ts and the ups and downs and the common mistakes that maybe some trainees make or what have you. Anyway, please like, subscribe, and share. Everybody stay safe and have a great day.
Take a base of action. Green group, stay across the holding sector of each other.
Admiral, we have enemy ships in Sector 47.
It's a trap.
Let's roll. Hey, let's be careful out.